So I started receiving infusions in February of this year, 2024, the ozone therapy, high-dose vitamin C, and mistletoe. I first came to see my functional doctor at the end of January after being diagnosed with stage 4 triple-negative breast cancer. The conventional doctors that I had seen prior to seeing my functional doctor, I saw 2 teams of conventional oncologists. So the hematology oncologist, the radiation oncologist, and the surgeon from 2 different sets. And none of them had really given me any positive goal to kind of work towards. The best that they were saying was that, they were hopeful that the radiation that I was going to do at the end of January would shrink the tumor down enough that it wouldn't rupture. That was a really big concern at the time. The tumor was very big. And then, they hoped that the chemo and the immunotherapy would sort of get the tumor more under control, help with the metastasis. I did have several lung nodules on both sides, and almost all of my lymph nodes, really, from my esophagus down to my upper abdomen, had been affected as well. And then the tumor it had metastasized into the skin some and also grown back into the chest wall a little bit. So it was, extending into my pec muscle. And they, their best hope was that on the small chance that I would respond really well to all of the treatments and everything kind of went away, that I would still be on chemo and immunotherapy as long as I was able to tolerate it for the rest of my life, which that was not a goal that I wanted to work towards. So when I met with my functional doctor, she was the first person that gave me hope that we could actually beat it. So we came up with a plan to prevent the side effects from all of the conventional treatments. And all of these infusions were included in that. I had a really great experience going through my cancer treatment. Actually, I've had no neuropathy or nerve damage in my fingers and toes that is so common to people getting chemo. I've had really very, very little nausea, no vomiting. The fatigue, I feel like, I've been less tired since starting all of these infusions than I ever was before. So that has not been an issue. People talk a lot about mouth sores and skin issues from chemotherapy. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any bowel issues. I didn't have any headaches. It was not a typical experience from what I've gathered talking to other cancer patients. So my tumor was 15 by 10 by 10 centimeters at its biggest external measurement. So when I first saw my functional doctor, that's how big it was. And within 2.5 months, everything was gone. The tumor was gone. The metastasis sites were gone. And I remember when I met with my functional doctor for the first time, I was very happy that I was going to have a, person on my care team that had a positive goal of me actually beating this. And I found out about the costs for everything, and I remember being very, very scared that I wasn't going to be able to afford it. And that's not something that people should have to worry about when they already have, a terminal diagnosis to deal with. To feel like you have something that could save your life, within your reach, and the cost of it potentially being something that would keep you from being able to receive it. So it's just not something people should have to worry about. But I have been so pleased with everything that my functional doctor has come up with. Everything has worked exactly as it's supposed to, and my conventional doctors are, they're kind of blown away by everything. So, and this is not an abnormal response to all of this stuff. I mean, when you look at this research, it's time and time again been proven to be helpful in so many different areas. So that was just my experience, and I am happy to share that with anyone that I can, because I think people, they hear cancer, they hear stage 4, they hear, terminal, and they think that the conventional doctors know everything. And that's, if they tell you that this is this is where you're heading with your, with your diagnosis, a lot of people don't think that there's anywhere else that they can look. And that the conventional doctors, what they say is kind of, the best or only options that people have. And that's just not the case. So.